GamerCast Network.
Hey. All right. It's a video game show. It's a video game show. It's not a game show about videos. It's a video game show.
Welcome to the GamerCast Number Video Game Show, episode number 93 for Sunday, June 8th, 2008. I'm Chad, and this week for the roll call, a question from Game Freak from the forums. What is your first video game you got addicted to? And joining us this evening is Phil.
The first game I was addicted to was probably Grand Prix for the Atari 2600. It was one of the first games that I found where if you beat a certain time and you took a Polaroid picture of your TV screen beating that certain time and you sent that in, you got a chance of winning some sort of prize. So I spent many, many hours trying to make that time and failed every time.
Well, try better next time. Although, since it's an old game, you're probably never going to try better ever again. So
Probably not.
Probably not. Okay. And also joining us this evening is Keith.
I would have to go with Berserk for the Atari 2600. I just remembered hours upon hours and days upon days dodging Evil Otto himself and having insane amounts of fun doing it. That game and Kaboom. And Kaboom, it was more to try to beat my dad than so much I wanted to just be awesome at it.
And finally joining us is Ivan.
Either Adventure for the Atari 2600 or something like Dragon Warrior for the NES, sitting down with my maps and my pads of paper for making notes and doing all kinds of stuff. Those were the games where my parents had to kick me off the TV because I was spending too much time playing.
Everyone here is choosing Atari games. I hate to jump on the Atari bandwagon.
It's Dragon Warrior.
Well, your first choice was Adventure.
Well,
yeah, but
that's when we first started gaming, was with the Atari.
I actually played games before the Atari. I had one of those standalone, like, Pong things. Actually, you know, it wasn't Pong, it was Breakout. I remember playing that one a lot just because I like to break things. So I'm going to have to go with that one. But yeah, the classic role-playing games where you had to sit down and make maps, those were pretty fun.
I remember with Final Fantasy having, I think it might have came with the game, I had this fold-out map, all the creatures, and it had all of the spells and abilities of all the different guys.
Yeah, many games nowadays don't come with maps and that kind of stuff anymore.
Not true at all. The collector's editions all have a map. Made of cloth.
Made of cloth.
Of cloth, yeah. Anymore, you have to buy like the strategy guide to get all the information. But yeah, Final Fantasy was actually the first game that I played that was just packed with stuff. You had maps and a big, thick book. You could literally have yourself a little workstation with all of your things around your maps and your notes and all kinds of stuff around.
This week on the GamerCast Network. Is the Sony Qore program a good idea for the community, or just one more cash-in? Find out what Jay and Paris think on this weekend's Uncle Gamer Radio. Check out GamerTech Radio for the latest news on all things Xbox related. Be sure to get all the facts on the post-game report. On Sarcastic Gamer, Microsoft is trying to fix Xbox Live, and how long should we wait for DLC? Discover the podcast community that brings you all these great podcasts and more. GamerCastNetwork.com.
Next topic.
I have continued to play Ninja Gaiden, and I'm up to chapter 12, I think.
Since it came out, I've checked around on various forums, and some people are having problems with it.
This actually kind of ties into our last discussion. So back in the day, you used to play games that were so infuriating, much like the original Ninja Gaiden, that it made you want to huck your controller at the wall. And there are parts of this game where they are just absolutely infuriating. And then you get past them, and then you're like, I'm glad I'm not doing that anymore. There's enemies that are just absolutely mind-meltingly annoying. There's guys that shoot multiple rockets at you, and then there's like 4 of them. Oh, it's just bad.
These are the ninjas with the rockets.
Yes, that's my first problem, is ninjas with rockets.
When you gotta be sure, might as well use a rocket.
Hey man, that's why people stopped using swords and armor in the first place.
Now, have you had any problems with the camera? Because everyone keeps complaining about the camera in this game.
Yeah, the camera can be very annoying. One of my biggest problems is I guess it's kind of camera related, but the bow, ranged weapon that you have to use occasionally. So like the shooty guys, the easiest way to get rid of them is to shoot them with a bow, so you don't have to try and run up and punch them in the face.
Can you shoot your arrow down the turret of the rocket launcher and explode the rocket?
The problem is you go into shoot bow mode and you're kind of zoomed in a little, and then when you get hit, it knocks you out of that mode, and then when you zoom back in, your character is like facing the other direction. So you slowly have to circle around to go back to line up. And then there are some sections.
You're a ninja that can't pivot quickly?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, that's funny. Continue.
And then there was one boss battle where I literally almost quit the game and said I'm not playing anymore because you're fighting these two fiery armadillo things, and there's just fire and flames and fireballs and explosions and things going on all over the place, and the camera is constantly moving in the exact wrong place.
So you're at chapter 12. It sounds like you're almost done with it.
I don't know how long it is. At first I thought there was like 9 or 10 chapters, and I got to chapter 12 and I'm not done yet, and now I'm seeing that there might be 14 or 15 chapters. I don't know how close I am to being done.
Okay, here's the question. Are you looking forward to beating it, or are you just like sitting back going, I don't mind if this would keep going on for a while longer?
No, right now I'm looking forward to it being over. It's a good enough game that I do want to keep playing it, but I really would kind of like to get to the end and finish it so that I can move on to like Lego Indiana Jones or something. I don't want to go out and buy another game while I'm in the middle of this one. But there have been times, unfortunately, where it's so infuriating that I do almost want to just not play it anymore. But then, you know, you get past that spot.
Okay, so you play this game for about a week now. Is it worth $60? I believe that's the price of this game.
Yeah, I still think it's worth it. It's still a lot of fun.
Do you think someone could beat it if they rented it?
Well, with today's like GameFly, that kind of stuff, you could. You couldn't do it in a week, I don't think, unless you played it nonstop. It is kind of lengthy. And what?
Nothing?
Lengthy, I think, is what you were looking for.
That's a word?
Lengthy?
Yes.
It's a word, but it's not the word that would appropriate to the situation. The game would have been too lengthy, not lengthly.
All right, whatever.
Next topic.
There was one big story this week, and we can touch on this real quick, having to do with Ninja Gaiden 2. It seems that the designer, game developer of Ninja Gaiden 2, Itagaki, has decided to leave Tecmo and Team Ninja. This guy was the one who developed Ninja Gaiden and also the Dead or Alive series. While leaving, he said, I'm going to sue you because apparently they did not pay him some completion bonuses for Dead or Alive 4. So he is now suing Tecmo for $1.4 million. What's this mean for Tecmo? Because if you look at Tecmo's list of games they make...
We're not getting a Super Tecmo Bowl 2008?
Honestly, the only series they have besides everything done by Team Ninja is Tecmo Bowl. There is a new Tecmo Bowl coming out for the DS and Wii, and the Fatal Frame series, which is the photograph survival horror series. That's all they have really left.
Yeah, they're losing a pretty significant developer. Obviously, he's the head developer of these things, but it sounds like he's pretty much the guy over there at Tecmo.
Of course, Team Ninja's going on. They're going to keep making games, but he's not going to be working with them.
They just lost the best ninja.
They lost the best ninja, yes. And now maybe your breast physics won't be in there for the next Dead or Alive.
You know what? That's fine. They could make the women a little more realistic.
Now, has everyone here played the Dead or Alive series?
Yeah, old jiggly themselves. I mean, if you're running and then if you're moving around and you stop, everything keeps moving for an extra second. And it's not her belly that's moving for an extra second.
Do you like the Dead or Alive series?
It was all right. I personally thought that the Tekken and the Soul Caliburs were better. But I also don't really like being chicks. And while they're nice to look at, you only had 2 non-chick choices in that game. There was some dude with grenades on his vest that he never used because I would have just whipped out a grenade and lobbed it at the bitch.
Next topic.
So did anybody else play anything this week?
I did start playing Lost Odyssey.
Oh, you did? Speaking of older games, I just started playing Mass Effect.
Oh, okay.
I picked up the PC version. The thing is, with Mass Effect, I started playing it. I went the route of Vanguard, which is the guns with the Force-like powers. Mm-hmm. And I found the Force-like powers lacking. at least the ones I had access to begin with.
They are lacking.
I found it very weak, and it was like, this is not fun at all, so I said, I'm just going to throw this character out and go total guns.
That's what I ended up doing, because even the other one, the technical side, you can just get someone in your party to be a tech guy. You don't need to be the tech guy.
I'm only like an hour and a half into the game, but it is a good game. I mean, so far so good.
I'm the same way with Lost Odyssey. I'm about an hour into it.
Now, that one plays like a Final Fantasy kind of game.
Yeah, except the way they do it is you have immortal characters and mortal characters. The immortal characters don't learn skills by leveling up. They learn them by being in groups with mortal characters who do learn skills by just leveling up. Granted, I just started getting to the point where I'm fighting. Now, I will say that it was very difficult for me because I had to wait a good 45 minutes before I could start killing. Listening to story that I really could care less about because it was the same thing being said over and over and over again.
Not skippable, huh?
Skippable to a point. The cutscenes in that were skippable, but you still had to physically run from point A to point B, and you weren't allowed to kill anything in the process. Very cool intro scene, though. I will say that.
And what is this? This is like a 40, 50-hour game?
Something like that. I can almost guarantee this isn't one I'm going to be finishing.
Do you find yourself often not finishing these kind of games?
If the game is good, I finish it. That's how I know it was a good game. Like Mass Effect, I finished. If I'm going to sit there and I actually take the time to finish the game and don't lose interest halfway through, it's a good game in my book. How this one will pan out, I'm not sure. A, I don't have a lot of time to game right now, and B, this is one of those games where the men are just as pretty as the women. Either the men are as pretty as the women, or the women are as ugly as the men, however you want to look at it.
Next topic.
There is the Street Fighter film coming out next year.
Please tell me that Jean-Claude Van Damme is coming back for round 2.
No Jean-Claude Van Damme. This is the origin story of Chun-Li. Playing Chun-Li is the Lana Lang from Smallville.
She's hot, but there's no way that I would buy her as Chun-Li in any way, shape, or form. Unless her thighs to become a lot more massive than what they are.
She's Chun-Li. And the thing is, there's going to be no Ryu or Ken.
No, that's just dumb.
So in other words, they're just trying to make a movie based on hot chick in scantily clad costume.
Yeah. The only characters in it, there's Balrog, who's being played by Michael Clark Duncan. M. Bison's in it. And then Vega's supposed to be in it. That's about it.
No, this is going completely against the whole... Ryu and Ken are the heroes of Street Fighter.
The producers of the film feel that the Street Fighter universe is too big to do all the characters, so they want to focus on just a couple characters and try and make it a more gritty, realistic film with lots of action.
And no, they're trying to succeed on having a pretty face, and it's not going to get the only audience that would even care about it in the first place.
So you would probably rather have Ken, Ryu, and maybe Guile and...
You know what? No, I don't even care if it's Ken, Ryu, and Chun-Li. Chun-Li can be a major player in it. That is perfectly fine with me. But the real thing is Ryu and Ken. That's what the whole Street Fighter world is based on, is Ryu and Ken. The rest of them, it doesn't matter. You don't need Dalzim and E Honda and all those other people. Yoga. You don't need Yoga.
Yoga Flame.
You can leave Chun-Li in it. That's fine. She can be a major player because she kind of is. But not the player. Because they're going to end up having Chun-Li go beat up all these people. Supposedly, M. Bison, by the whole Street Fighter lore, was only able to be defeated by Ken and Ryu together. Ken and Ryu are supposed to be the hub of the wheel of that world. And you take them out of the picture and you just have an empty bike tire with no rim. You're not going to get very far without a rim. I don't even know where the hell this analogy went. Where is it going?
Next topic.
There's a new Puzzle Quest game coming out. Well, not Puzzle Quest. It's by the makers of Puzzle Quest, Infinite Interactive. They are making that new Galactrix game, but beyond that, they have a game coming out based on the Neopets universe. Everyone here obviously is not very familiar with Neopets.
Or could care less because they're called Neopets, and I'm sure it's some kind of stupid Digimon meets Pokemon.
Yep, that's kind of what it is. But they are making a game, and the game is going to be called Neopets Puzzle Adventure. And it's kind of like Puzzle Quest, except the game in this, rather than the match 3 and go away, it's basically Othello or Reversi. It's a two-player game where you win by making as many as you can of the playing pieces your color, and you turn your opponent's playing pieces to your color by trapping them between your pieces. Now, on top of that base game, like Puzzle Quest, they're putting in spells, leveling, questing.
If you're going to pick a different game other than, Bejeweled or whatever, Othello's not a bad game because that game you could literally go until the last play of the game and just go from the cellar to total victory. Okay, so what are you trying to level up? A pet, like an animal?
Yeah, you're rolling an animal, basically.
Oy.
Sounds like I'd be more interested if it wasn't Neopets. You're not even like making a game off of a popular stupid thing. You're making a game off of I don't know, maybe I'm just really not in touch with what children are into anymore, but Neopets? I mean, Neopets.
Okay, so if Puzzle Quest was based on Neopets rather than the Warlords universe, would you have still played it?
No, I probably would have never even looked at it.
Here's the thing, though. Now, having Infinite Interactive bring out Puzzle Quest and establish their rep or their street cred, now would you be interested in looking at this Neopets game?
You know what? Now that I have more information, I know what kind of game it is. I have always hated Othello, which to me means this could be Marvel Quest, something that I do care about, and it being Othello would mean I might try it then, but probably wouldn't enjoy it. This is just kind of a double negative here.
See, I just have no interest in Neopet.
Yeah.
If it was Marvel Othello, as you just said, Ivan, I would probably pick it up and play it. Gameplay goes only so far for this kind of a game, because it is set up as almost a role-playing puzzle game. Role-playing games need good stories, in my opinion.
What if they get a kick-ass writer to come in and write this whole gritty...
The gritty Neopet universe.
Come on, it could be done.
No, it can't.
Yes, it
it's
could.
Neopet. All right, are there children involved at all? And I'm Googling Neopets. Oh, no. Trust me, there are kids involved with this crap.
I think I see what Keith's point is. I think we'd have to take like the Dr. Evil stance on this. 1, do they have lasers? 2, are they ill-tempered? And 3, are they mutated?
I'll buy the Dr. Evil stance there. All right, here we go. Take a little survey here, and we'll run with Phil for this one. Phil, what do you think of eating meat? Steak or meat is gross? Veggies for me, please.
Steak.
Imagine you were driving and hit a small animal. What would you do? Cheer and add 2 points to your score sheet? Stop and check to see if it's okay? Or cry hysterically and refuse to ever drive again?
The first option.
All right. Which is your favorite activity? Yoga, reading, shopping, destroying things.
Destroying things.
What is your main goal for the future? Become famous? To make a difference in the world? Become rich? None of the above, no goals yet.
No goals yet.
What is this survey for?
What Neopet he would be? He'd be a Gellert. It's like dog-looking little Neopet thing. I'm just trying to prove a point. Neopets are not entertaining.
Yeah, they're kind of like a cross between, from what I have been looking at, Pokemon and Beanie Babies. Like Pokemon, but without the point.
Okay, so Neopets are a no then on this.
Yeah, I mean, I already know that it's not going to be anything so spectacular I have to own it. Yeah, good luck to them. I mean, maybe kids will start liking Othello.
Well, yeah, we can reinvigorate the Othello market.
And then Xbox Live Arcade can put out Othello for 400 points.
Ugh.
Next topic.
I did try another Xbox Live Arcade game, by the way. I tried that Aces of the Galaxy. Anybody here try that one?
Yeah, I wasn't impressed.
No, neither was I. It plays like Space Harrier or Panzer Dragoon, which is like an on-rail shooter. It's a space game where you're flying your starship, but you can't go left or right or up or down. You can just go around the screen, and it kind of like directs you down a certain path, and you line up guys, shoot them down. You have guided missiles and all that kind of crap. I don't like those games. It's just more of the sadness that there are no good space shooters out there anymore. And kind of more of the same on Xbox Live Arcade.
But isn't that one of the more vocal complaints against Xbox Live Arcade right now at this point? They either put out these old games that everyone has already played a bunch of times, and I can understand people are going to say, but the new audience, yada, yada, yada. Or they put out the same move left analog stick, shoot right analog stick. But most of what they put out has already been put out. Catan, I think, is popular amongst everyone, not just us, correct?
Yeah, and I've actually gotten a bunch of people recently to play Carcassonne, people that I never thought would have played.
Have people thought about delving into the board game like Mall of Horrors or Bang?
Bang would be awesome.
Exactly. It'd be easy to do. I think. I'm not a programmer. I'm not sure. So let me rephrase that. It would seem like it would be easy to do.
Okay, what is Bang? for the listeners?
It's a card game, essentially. Non-standard card game, meaning not a 52-card deck card game. There's a sheriff and deputies and outlaws, and essentially the game is won by either killing the sheriff or killing all the outlaws.
The outlaws are trying to kill the sheriff. The deputy is trying to help the sheriff win. The sheriff doesn't know who to believe. And you have different cards. If you get a horse, it makes it harder to shoot you or easier to shoot them. Different guns give you more range. It can be played in, about 15 minutes or so?
Depending on how many people you have, yeah. With 4 people, you could probably knock a game out in 15, 20 minutes. Yeah, another good one would be something like Descent, because the problem with Carcassonne, from what I understand, is it's a good board game, but it's a pain in the ass because you have to add up all the points manually. You have to keep track of all that stuff. Having the computer do it makes it that much easier. Descent is a board game with 1,000 little mini pieces and just all kinds of intricate things that you have to do, but the game is incredibly fun. If somebody could digitize that, I think that would be pretty popular too.
We had the same issue with Blood Bowl.
Right, and just the cool thing there is Blood Bowl is coming out. I think it's actually due out sometime by the end of the summer. So that'll be actually really cool.
These are all games that are incredibly, incredibly fun, but you really need to allocate 2 to 5 hours to play them with an hour of setup cleanup time because there's just that many pieces. It's not even so much that the game is complicated, it's just there's a lot of pieces in setup.
The biggest thing is you need human beings in the same room as you to play, which means by making them a computer game, you don't have to leave your house. You can play with 4 of your friends. For me to play a game with Chris or Bob, I would have to fly to the West Coast. And that's not going to happen.
These kind of games, and I even think Blood Bowl is going to do this, if it's done correctly, meaning they didn't try to bastardize it by not allowing you to make your teams and that kind of thing, will be incredibly, incredibly successful. All these board games have all their own different styles of play. Everything is already right there, and it wouldn't be that complicated to program, I would think. It's just a matter of, I think, reaching out to these people and getting some kind of thing with Xbox Live, and then you could start bringing a lot of new to Xbox Live again.
We'll have to see what happens. From what MS has been saying, it sounds like they're going for quality over quantity from this point forward.
And I just hope it doesn't go the way of Penny Arcade with upping the prices, everything, to pay for the extra quality, quote unquote.
Next topic.
PlayStation now has a new service that they're providing over their PlayStation Network.
The ability to play games with your friends easily?
They're getting better with it. They're getting better.
I know, they are getting better. I'll give them credit for that.
Here is their new thing they're putting out via their PlayStation Store. You can now buy what's called Qore. Qore. And for all intents and purposes, what it is, did anybody here ever read the old official PlayStation magazine when they had that disc that came along with it? And on the disc, there was like videos with developers, trailers, and some demos.
Yeah, I remember that.
Well, Qore is basically that whole thing in a downloadable format from the PlayStation Network. You know, it's kind of like a video magazine where you're watching developer interviews, seeing screenshots of games, and there's also exclusive content. Much like the old PlayStation magazine, disc, which had exclusive demos, this Qore promises exclusive access to betas, themes, and perhaps in the future, exclusive demos.
I think that's a very good idea.
Here's one kind of deal killer, though. There are ads in this thing. Some are non-skippable.
And how much is it a month?
It costs $3 per issue on a monthly basis, or you could subscribe for a year for $25.
I can deal with that. That's all right to me.
That's not bad, but I mean, my biggest thing is there's really only one place I like to read magazines, that kind of thing, and doing this would mean I couldn't do it in that place. When I'm at my console, I rarely download videos or watch videos or do that kind of stuff. If I'm at my console, I usually want to be playing something.
This thing has developer interviews, gameplay trailers, and that kind of stuff. Do you really pay for that anymore in this day and age with the game trailers sites, the YouTubes?
Obviously they do, because they still have Electronic Game Monthly. I'm looking at this as a magazine. I don't see the difference. I think that this is a brilliant move by Sony to do this, because A, it gets people more using the online stuff. B, you're still generating some kind of info, even though it's only $3 a month. And for the purchaser, it is like getting an online magazine subscription each month. I think it's a brilliant move. You can make the argument that Xbox kind of does that for free. Henceforth, what does my brother even do for a job? We don't pay for that information. You just kind of go on and...
Actually, that is true. I was going to say, technically, you pay for the Xbox Live subscription, but I think you can get all that with even a silver membership. So
Yes, you can. But I do think it's a brilliant and a very good move for Sony, but they have to have a decent amount of exclusive, only you can get this if you're going to charge a fee, because like I said, and even you said, you can go online to all these sites and get the same information. It almost sounds like it's kind of a convenience fee.
yeah, I think this would be an exceptional idea if it were free, especially if there's going to be advertising in it.
It would be one of their most brilliant moves ever if it was free. Charging a fee with it, it's still a very good idea in my opinion.
I don't know, for me, the video stuff really isn't worth it. I don't watch all the stuff that's out there right now. The real value here for me, for the money, is getting the exclusive access to betas and perhaps exclusive demos.
I wouldn't be happy about that, though. If the only way for me to get a demo of like Metal Gear Solid or something
Is to
was
pay for it.
But there is the thing in Microsoft land where gold subscribers get things first. Eventually it comes to silver people. What if that was like this with the core stuff? Whereas the core people get it first.
That would be okay, I guess.
Because think about even with PC games. Pre-order this game and you get a demo, or you get into the beta. You pre-order, you know what I mean, that kind of thing. You're basically putting $5 towards the game, but for essence, the approach you're going is you're paying $5 to play the beta. It is the initial investment is what you're doing. It's the same thing, and because they're offering that, I think it's an excellent idea. But I do think that the news in that should be for everybody, because why would you want to keep potential purchasers and potential customer base in the dark about things?
Next topic.
Mailbag.
Someone reminisced about a story featuring Mortal Kombat.
Hey, this is DJ from Minneapolis, and when you guys were talking about Mortal Kombat in episode 91, it reminded me of my favorite video game story, which I have to share with you. So, when I was in high school, Mortal Kombat was released, and my friend and I, we really wanted to go play it, but we couldn't drive, so we had to call ahead to arcades to see if they had it. So when our parents brought us there, we knew they'd have Mortal Kombat. So we called a local bowling alley. I'm talking on the phone, and my friends are listening. And this old lady answers, "Hello?" I said, "Yeah. Do you have Mortal Kombat in your game room?" And she goes, "Well, sometimes things do get out of hand." So I hang up the phone, and my friend and I just look at each other. We just start laughing, and we've been laughing ever since. See ya. Bye.
That's classic.
That is pretty good. I want to know if they went up to the bowling alley. They go in with a pocket full of quarters and end up using them as a pair of improvised brass knuckles.
Okay, remember someone a long time ago wanted us to read his gamer tag on the show?
Yes.
Drop ET Legend. Apparently he didn't listen to the show. He missed the fact that we said it before, so he wants us to say it again.
I'd say Shattered Dream Pie to that guy for not being a true fan of the show.
Maybe he did hear it, and he just wants us to do it again.
Maybe it's because we said Droopy T Legend at first, and he maybe thought it was somebody else.
Well, I'll do my best to pronounce it appropriately this time. Droppy T Legend. Well, it's got L-E-D-G-E-N-D. Well, how the hell else do you say that? It's not legend, it's legend. And he goes on to say he has more achievements in Crackdown than the Mighty Oot.
Oh, first of all, I could care less about achievements. Henceforth, why my achievement points are so low. I don't play a game to get useless points of something. I play the game because I want to play the game. But good for you. Kudos.
And that was Video Game Show episode number 93 for Sunday, June 8th, 2008. Any ham sandwiches or Shattered Dream Pies to give to the world?
I'm reverting back to my ham sandwich to the inventor and installers of air-conditioned units, and Shattered Dream Pie to the sun.
Yes. Yes. Thank you, Keith. I was going to say the same thing. Shattered Dream Pie to the sun for causing sunburn and making you very tired.
We actually had a request for a Shattered Dream Pie. Naruto on our forums went to buy off of eBay something called Game Bridge, which captures footage from your console and puts it on your PC. It's like a video recording device. So I guess he bought one over eBay for $50, got it, and it was missing parts. So he wants a Shattered Dream Pie. I think we can give him one. And I have to give myself a Shattered Dream Pie. When I spoke last week, I said my favorite composer was Hans Zimmer for Metal Gear Solid. Wrong guy. Harry Gregson Williams is the composer for Metal Gear Solid. Whoops. Yeah, I'll kill myself now. I'll seppuku myself.
No, who's gonna edit? Don't be so
Website,
selfish in
yeah.
your quickness to kill yourself.
Somewhat a ham sandwich, but more of a thank you to Chris Palladino for telling us how to face map in the original Vegas.
Yeah, I finally now have a face I can see, and it looks like
Yes.
me again.
And 30 gamer points for it, too.
And don't forget about the Friday night GamerCast Network gaming nights. This week on the Xbox 360, they're playing Halo 3. Go check out the GamerCast Network forums for all the details at gamercastnetwork.com/forums. And as usual, send your comments, questions, queries, concerns, or a roll call question to the mailbag at mailbag@videogameshow.org, Skype us at videogameshow, or call us at 320-300-GAME. That is a standard long distance call and all normal fees apply. That's a wrap. Good night. Let me go get a phone and see if Tom is going to be around. I shall be back in a couple minutes. Talk amongst yourselves.
I'm going to eat in this time.
I'm doing the same.
Ivan, you just be hungry and listen to us eat.
I'm very hungry.
Why don't you eat something?
I have no food
Why not?
because I haven't purchased any.
Why?
Because I haven't had time.
You haven't had time to purchase food.
No. I had a wedding to go to yesterday, and Chad has a potty mouth.
Yeah, I know, man. He's really rattling off obscenities there.
Oh, Tom, how'd this number work? Didn't you get a new phone? Oh, well, are you at work or are you going to be on the show? Oh, you died.
Did he just say you died?
That's what it sounded
that was
like.
just what I was going to ask.
Oh, you died. Oh, okay. Sorry for interrupting this conversation.
So then, no, you probably won't be on the show then, right?
Oh, okay.
Ow. Damn it, that hurt.
I know. The loss of a loved one does hurt.
No,
Tom's dead, right?
No, Tom's not dead. It
sounded like you said you died.
No, I slammed my elbow into a door frame.
No, it sounded like when you were talking to Tom, it sounded like, oh, you died.
Yeah,
So
it's
you're
like,
not gonna
oh,
be
you
on the
died.
show.
And as soon as you come back, you go, that hurts.
I was in pain and agony and talking to him. Well, hang on, wait.